In 1939, Hitler attacks Poland from the west while Stalin moves in from the east. They split the nation between them. A Polish officer named Janusz is caught by the Soviets, who pressure him to sign a false confession saying he is a spy. Janusz refuses to lie. To break him, the guards bring in his wife. She has been hurt so badly that she eventually identifies Janusz as a spy. He cries and denies the charges, but the guards show him a paper she signed listing fake crimes he committed. By 1940, Janusz is sent to a work camp in Siberia with many other prisoners. They are told that the brutal wilderness is their real prison. The environment is so deadly that escape seems impossible. Also, locals are offered rewards to kill any runaways. The prisoners have their heads shaved and are fed tiny portions of thin soup. Because they lack vitamins, many men lose their vision at night. A man named Smith accidentally drops his food, and a starving prisoner tries to take it, but Smith steps on it to keep it. Janusz feels bad for the man and shares his own meal. Smith warns him that being kind in this place will lead to death. Later, a man named Khabarov tells Janusz that Smith is an American arrested simply for being a traveler. Janusz explains his 20-year sentence is based on lies, while Khabarov says he is an actor arrested for a movie role. In the barracks, a criminal named Valka plays cards. Khabarov explains that the guards let these dangerous men run the dorms, so everyone is terrified of them. Janusz asks about escaping, but Khabarov says Stalin's spies are everywhere and it can't be done. Suddenly, Valka demands another man's coat. When the man resists, Valka stabs him. The others take the dead man's clothes and give them to Valka to pay his gambling debt. As time goes by, Janusz learns the hard camp routine. They spend all day cutting wood or mining in deep snow with very little food or warmth. Their clothes are ruined, so one man uses wax to fix his shoes. One night, Janusz finds bugs in his clothes. Khabarov takes him outside for a remedy. While they bury the clothes in the snow to kill the bugs, Janusz looks at the guard towers and dreams of freedom. Khabarov mentions a friend named Laser might help them, and they discuss a plan. The best path is south toward Mongolia, but they need to save food and wait for better weather. Khabarov begins trading items for food and hides it under the floor. Later, during a massive blizzard, the soldiers force the prisoners to work, but men begin to collapse. The guards tell them they don't care if they die. When Smith argues, a guard threatens him with a gun, but Smith ignores him and walks toward the trees. The guards then decide to let the group take cover in the forest. The men build a quick shelter out of branches and invite Smith inside. The next day, Janusz and Smith work in the mines. The air is thick and dusty, making it hard to breathe. Janusz gets dizzy, starts seeing visions of his home, and nearly walks past a guard who is ready to shoot. Smith saves him just in time. To thank him, Janusz tells Smith about the escape plan. Smith warns him that Khabarov has been tricking new prisoners with that same story for years. However, Smith agrees to go if Janusz is truly serious. That night, Janusz tries to get Khabarov to leave because the storm will hide their tracks, but Khabarov makes excuses about not having enough food. Janusz realizes Smith was right. Valka sees them talking, so they go back. Meanwhile, a prisoner named Kazik admits he is going blind at night and asks another man, Andrei, to help him hide it so he isn't left behind. Smith then trades his gold watch to Laser for a way out. Laser says they must cut the power, giving them 10 minutes of darkness during a guard shift change. As they prepare, Valka attacks Janusz with a knife. He has gambling debts and demands to go with them. Janusz is forced to agree. When the time is right, they cut the power and the fence wires and run. An alarm sounds, but the snow hides their footprints. They head deep into the forest while guards and dogs search for them. The 7 escapees run until they are exhausted. Janusz pushes them to keep moving because the dogs are close. When the others want to stop due to the blinding snow, Yanush refuses. He makes masks out of tree bark so they can see and keep walking. When the storm ends, they check their supplies. Yanush sees Valka wearing Khabarov's coat and learns that Valka robbed Khabarov to keep him quiet about the escape. Smith tells Yanush that bringing a criminal like Valka is a dangerous mistake. They hear wolves nearby, but they keep going. Yanush uses the sun and moss to find the way. Valka is impressed and vows to protect him. Yanush estimates it will take a month to reach a lake, but they only have a week of food. They will have to hunt to survive. One night, Kazik gets lost in the dark because of his bad eyes. He wanders off and starts to see visions of a city and his teacher. When the group finds him, he has frozen to death very close to their camp. They bury him, though Valka coldly notes there is now more food for the rest. Weeks later, the men are eating insects and eggs to stay alive. They are so tired they hide in a cave, where a man named Tomas draws on the walls to stay focused. Valka starts making scary hints about eating each other. Suddenly, they find wolves eating a carcass. The men scream and wave sticks to scare the wolves away, then eat the raw meat themselves. Feeling disgusted, Yanush leaves alone to find the lake, telling the others to move on if he isn't back in a week. After many struggles and visions, he returns to tell them he found it. They walk for 3 days to reach the water, clean up, and head for the border. In the woods, they find a young Polish girl named Irina who escaped a farm. Yanush wants to help her, but the others worry she will slow them down. Later, after catching an animal for food, Andrei brings Irina back to the group. The next day, they make soap and shave. They cross a frozen part of the lake, inspired by Irina's bravery, and continue their walk. Smith realizes Irina is lying about her past, but she promises to be honest from now on. They see a town but avoid it to stay hidden. Valka disappears for a while, making Smith think he betrayed them, but he returns with food he scavenged and a bottle of alcohol for his birthday. During dinner, Irina's singing reveals she lived on the streets like Valka. She finally admits her parents were killed in Moscow and she ran away from an orphanage. As they continue, they are swarmed by bugs until a local man gives them a special necklace to keep the insects away. The group shares their old lives. Andrei was a priest, Tomas a baker, Zoran an accountant, and Smith an engineer whose son was killed. Irina helps fix Smith's wounded feet. They eventually reach the tracks near the border and cross into Mongolia at night. Valka decides to stay behind because he is still loyal to his home. He and Yanush say goodbye. The rest of the group is happy until they realize Mongolia is also under communist rule. They find a ruined temple and realize religion has been banned here too. They decide they must walk all the way to India. For weeks, they trek through a burning desert. They encounter riders but pretend to be pilgrims to get help. They run out of water and start seeing mirages. Just as they lose hope, they find a bird which leads them to a well. They fill their bottles and keep going south. A sandstorm hits, and they lose their water again. Irina and Tomas become very sick. Men suck on stones to stay hydrated, but Irina eventually collapses and dies. The men are heartbroken, but keep moving. Soon, Tomas passes away after drawing a final picture of Irina. Only 4 are left. They reach hills where Yanush hopes to find water. Smith is too weak to continue, so Yanush stays with him while the others look ahead. Eventually, they find a small puddle and a snake to eat, which gives them just enough strength. Smith feels guilty about his son and wants to die, but Yanush encourages him. They finally find a river, cross the Great Wall, and reach the Himalayas. They meet a monk who takes them to a monastery for food. The monks suggest waiting for spring, but Yanush wants to keep moving. The friends share their plans for the future before Yanush leaves. The others soon follow. Finally, the survivors reach India and are helped by the locals. 50 years later, after Poland becomes free, Janusz finally goes home and reunites with his wife.